This pattern that haunts you, this relentless cycle of entanglement with souls who wound, diminish, or leave you aching and empty. You recognize it, don't you? That weary déjà vu when a familiar dynamic unfolds. The script you know by heart, starring different faces, yet the same painful roles. Attend closely. This is no random curse. This is a summons from the depths. A call echoing from the hidden landscape of your own being. Breathe deep. Hold it. You are not condemned. You are not inherently broken in a way that chains you to suffering in connection. What draws these figures into your orbit is not a defect. It is a force, a deep, unseen magnetism, rising from the intricate, often wounded terrain of your unconscious mind. Grasp this fundamental truth. The outer world frequently serves as a mirror. It reflects the unacknowledged territories within us. And the most potent, often painful reflections come in the form of the people we attract. Think of the shadow. Jung illuminated the shadow, the unconscious, rejected aspects of the personality. The impulses, the desires, the fears, the perceived weaknesses we deem unacceptable. We shove them into the dark corners of the psyche, but the shadow does not dissolve. It waits, it yearns for acknowledgement, and it projects. It casts its own hidden qualities onto others. When you encounter someone who embodies traits you vehemently disown in yourself, perhaps their arrogance mirrors your suppressed ambition, their cruelty your buried rage, their emotional unavailability your own terror of true intimacy. Your unconscious recognizes this projected piece. It feels a pull, a strange, compelling familiarity. This is not a conscious decision. Hear me clearly. No one chooses to be abused or neglected, but a deeper instinctual part of the psyche is activated, drawn to confront these disowned aspects. Indirectly, yes, through the fraught interaction with the other. Look inward. Face the discomfort. What qualities in those who have hurt you do you most intensely despise? Dig beneath the surface revulsion. Is there a faint, uncomfortable echo of that same quality, perhaps unlived, perhaps denied, within you? Confronting this is not an act of self-blame for another's actions. It is an act of fierce self-reclamation. You retrieve the energy bound up in those rejected fragments of your own soul. This relentless cycle you find yourself trapped within. It speaks to a profound, almost primal principle Jung termed the repetition compulsion. The psyche, in its tireless, often brutal quest for wholeness, tends to recreate the very conditions under which it was originally wounded. Not out of a masochistic desire for pain, never that, but out of a desperate instinctual attempt to master the original trauma, to resolve the unresolved conflict, to finally integrate the shattered pieces. Consider the dawn of your existence, your early life, the patterns of relating you absorbed like air, the ways love and connection were demonstrated, or devastatingly withheld. The emotional climate you breathed in, these foundational attachment patterns were etched onto your soul long before conscious memory formed. If love felt like a fragile, conditional thing, if safety was a fleeting guest, if emotional needs were met with indifference or chaos, your unconscious absorbed these lessons. It built internal working models of relationships upon these foundations, no matter how unstable or painful they were. Feel the stark, undeniable weight of this truth. You did not plot this pattern consciously, but a part of you remembered the chaos and called it home. The familiar, even if it brought suffering, felt safer to a part of your psyche than the terrifying, uncharted territory of genuinely healthy connection. Your unconscious was not seeking suffering. It was seeking the known, in a misguided, desperate attempt to finally conquer it on familiar ground. But you felt it. You knew something was off, and you stayed. Why? Not because you are weak, but because you are profoundly, terrifyingly wired to return to what feels familiar. The echoes of your beginning are powerful. These patterns are reinforced by complexes, deeply entrenched, emotionally charged networks of ideas and images clustered around a core archetype or traumatic experience. A mother complex, for instance, indelibly shaped by those first foundational interactions, can unconsciously dictate who you are drawn to in nurturing roles, sometimes compelling you to repeat the very dynamics you fled. An abandonment complex can leave you hypervigilant, hypersensitive to perceived rejection, inadvertently creating the very abandonment you dread, or drawing in those prone to leaving. Archetypes, the universal primordial patterns residing in the collective unconscious, also exert their silent pull. The wounded child archetype within you carrying the imprint of past hurts might unconsciously seek out figures who resonate with that original wound, hoping against all reason that this time the narrative will change. The victim archetype, if dominant and unexamined down, can unconsciously orchestrate circumstances that allow it to be repeatedly enacted, fulfilling a tragic internal script learned long ago. There is the potent, insidious grip of trauma bonding. Let there be no confusion. This is not love. This is a psychological entanglement forged in the crucible of intensity, manipulation, and unpredictable bursts of validation. It chillingly mimics the push and pull of early, unpredictable caregiving, creating a powerful, almost addictive neurochemical loop. Your body, your very nervous system, becomes conditioned to the high-alert state, mistaking the adrenaline spike of drama for the vital thrum of connection. Breaking these bonds demands more than mere intellectual understanding. It demands a fierce, painstaking renegotiation with the very sensations of safety, peace, and true calm. Listen now. Let these words sink deep, past the defenses, past the pain. The toxic people you attract are not the root problem, they are messengers. Painful, yes, harmful, undeniably, but their arrival illuminates the unhealed places within you, the wounds vibrating at a frequency that calls them in. Your unconscious is not a malevolent force. It is a persistent, often difficult force for healing and integration. It speaks in symbols, in dreams, and most powerfully, in the recurring patterns of your life. It will continue to present you with variations of the original wound, clothed in different faces, until you finally turn inward and address the source itself. The broken glass you feel beneath your bare feet in these relationships. It is a chilling reflection of the fragmentation within your own soul. The masks they wear, the roles they play, mirror the parts of yourself you conceal, the truths you deny. The shadows they cast are the very ones that trail behind you, waiting desperately to be turned towards the light of your own awareness. The fog of confusion and manipulation they bring reflects the unclarity, the denial, the self-deception shrouding your own inner truth, and the fierce, aching yearning you feel for genuine connection. That is the voice of your inner child, bruised, wounded, but resilient, begging to be seen, begging to be loved, first and most profoundly by you. You possess the power to change this frequency. This will not happen through sheer force of will alone. It happens by turning your conscious awareness like a powerful beam onto the unconscious landscape. It demands courage. The courage to look at the shadow without flinching. It demands compassion. Compassion for the wounded child who did not know better. It demands fierce determination. The resolve to untangle the deep roots of the repetition compulsion. It demands that you become the dedicated archaeologist of your own soul, gently, painstakingly uncovering the buried history that dictates your present reality. Stop searching for the antidote solely in other people. Stop clinging to the desperate hope that if you just find the right person, this pattern will miraculously dissolve. The fundamental shift must occur within. As you integrate your shadow, as you offer true healing to your early wounds, as you bring consciousness to the complexes and archetypal forces that have held sway in the dark, the frequency changes. The magnetic pull shifts. You begin to vibrate at a level that is no longer resonant with the chaotic, the manipulative, the emotionally unavailable. You become less visible to them. You become more visible to yourself. It feels impossible, doesn't it? Like fighting gravity, it is not impossible. It requires patience, persistence, and a profound commitment to your own liberation. This is not an instant transformation. It is a sacred, often arduous, lifelong journey of becoming whole. There will be moments of stumbling, of regression, of confusion, of searing pain. Be compassionate with yourself in these moments. This work is the deepest, most challenging labor of existence. But hold this absolute truth firmly. The power to change the pattern resides within you. You hold the key to your own prison door. You must turn it. Hear these final words. Let them resonate deep within your core. Let them become your new truth. You don't need to stop attracting what is toxic. You need to stop mistaking it for love. Recognize the difference. Feel it in your bones. Honor your own inherent worth. A worth that was never dependent on another's validation or lack thereof. And the landscape of your relationships will inevitably, profoundly transform. The summons from the depths is not a curse. It is the voice of your original self, the self that refuses to die in silence. You don't need to chase new love, you need to become it. Answer the call, and everything changes.